Hello there. What is going on, everyone? We're going to be talking about Gen Con today. AMG, as well as Fantasy Flight Games, have put out statements saying that they are not attending Gen Con. So we're going to be talking about that today, as well as some more information that it's not necessarily that bad of a thing. It's kind of a reasonable thing. So here's the statement. With the health and safety of our community and staff in mind, Atomic Mass Games has made the difficult decision to not physically participate in Gen Con 2021. Instead, we'll focus on bringing you exciting news, events, and ways to play together digitally this fall. We'll release more information about our plans as we get closer to September. We hope to see you in person next year as the health situation continues to improve and allows everyone to gather safely. So, and this similar announcements have been put out by multiple companies, including Fantasy Flight Games. And this is also, if you guys have been following the channel, I've talked about not going to Gen Con this year as well, I think in some of my live streams. So yeah, I also am not going to be attending Gen Con in 2021. And I am vaccinated, so it's not out of a safety or health or concern on my part. It's more about the lack of vendors and people and participants. And, there's two reasons that I really like going to Gen Con. One, it's getting a chance to see all of you, so many people that from the gaming community, from the Star Wars tabletop gaming communities, and I've made so many friends over the years that I really look forward to seeing everybody, fans, friends, new friends, old friends, that sort of thing. So I look forward to that tremendously. But also, the other reason that I look forward to going to Gen Con is it's a great opportunity to network and to to talk to and meet and get access to the companies that produce the games that I'm interested in in covering, like Atomic Mass Games, Fantasy Flight Games, some other Asmodee studios, then lots of other companies too. And you've seen me do, plenty of, showcasing and reviews and previews and all kinds of unboxings and things like that for other gaming studios as well. So, I really look forward to networking, and that's one of the best advantages that Gen Con has, because it has all of my favorite game companies in one place. And that's really not going to be the case in Gen Con 2021 because it's limited Gen Con. It's going to be much smaller. It's going to be a fraction of the companies that are going to be there. And granted, there are going to be some companies there that I would love to sit down with, have interviews with, get some footage, get some video recording footage of, just shake hands and get to know people. Like, because sometimes you send emails to people and it's really good to actually put a face with a name and on all of that sort of thing. And I feel like it is safe to shake hands right now because, of course, I'm going to be washing my hands an awful lot, but even more so than usual. I usually wash my hands at least once a month, so probably twice a month now. So that's a joke, by the way. Don't take that literally. But at least once every 4 months is more accurate. No, but no, Gen Con's a great opportunity for all of those things. This year, I just feel like it's going to be very different because they're doing a hybrid convention. It's going to be partially online, partially in person. And I'm like, well, for me, it's, going to a convention it's not cheap. I don't live close enough to Indianapolis that I can just drive there, at least not easily. And so I'd have to fly, and then of course hotel, and then food while you're on the road. There's so very many expenses that go into going to a Gen Con type convention that it represents the single biggest part of my limited budget. And so I simply I have to plan all year to be able to go to Gen Con. And Gen Con in particular is very expensive, especially if you want to be connected to the convention, which is generally the way that it works for me. In past years, there's always like early release stuff that comes out, and I kind of want to get my, the new stuff to review, buy all that stuff, bring it up to the hotel room, then drop it off, then come back down, get some interviews, and like there's a lot of going back to the room and back and forth, upload videos, pause, I need to go and upload this video real quick, boom, 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 sit in the room, catch my breath, and then then come back down and do more. Like, I'm working like crazy, but it's a blast doing it. It's like I'm running on adrenaline like 18 hours a day. And then I finally crash at the end of the night, like the whole time, So I always take like an extra vacation day or two afterwards just to come back and catch my breath. But it's a great ride. It's a complete roller coaster ride. It's a blast. of a convention, but that wouldn't be the case this year. And so I'm not going to spend all the money and go if I'm going to be able to see maybe a third of the people that I was hoping to see. So that's really the meat and potatoes of it. There also aren't going to be any tournaments for X-Wing Legion or Armada. At least nothing official. There may be some community-run things, but nothing particularly on that national or global scale. So those are reasons why I'm not going, and and I think a lot of these other companies had to have made this decision much earlier. I know some people, a lot of people are getting vaccinated now, which is really good. The pandemic is kind of getting under control. Like rates, we're looking at safety is going up. Infection rates and deaths are going much lower than they were. Things are approaching normal, and it's great. It's super exciting. It's a very, very exciting time. Because it's like the light at the end of the tunnel seems brighter than ever before, and so that's great. Like I've already started being able to like game in person again. And still with restrictions and everything. Like I only game with vaccinated people just to make sure. I wouldn't hate to facilitate somebody else getting sick. So that's kind of what my group has all agreed upon. So we're all gaming with vaccinated people, and it's working out great so far. It's a step towards normalcy, and I think the decision had to have been made earlier. It's tough for a whole company to decide, hey. It's now looks like it's kind of safe now, but we couldn't. I don't think they could just decide now all of a sudden to have a presence at Gen Con. Like Asmodee is usually, or FFG in the past, and presumably maybe now Atomic Mass Games has always had a major, huge presence at Gen Con. Like probably the biggest booth in the entire showroom floor was always FFG in the past, and they were always one of the biggest sponsors of Gen Con. And now I'm not sure if that would be AMG or FFG. Maybe they're not sure yet because of the whole transition and everything. And they're like, all right, well, are we going to split it? Or is it just going to be an Asmodee kind of thing? So there's a lot of a lot of questions on how that would work. Are we still going to have an in-flight brief? All of those things. And so, there's a lot of planning that goes into that. Plus, you have to make sure all of your employees that are going to go there are vaccinated. And maybe some people have health concerns and can't get vaccinated. Maybe some people are still unwilling, to put themselves in a massively populated kind of scenario right now. And I can't blame them. It's scary. You've been quarantined for a year and a half, and all of a sudden expect to just like, all right, let's just go to this incredibly massive convention. So granted, even in this case, it's not as incredibly massive because they're doing a smaller version, but I think by 2022 it'll be definitely safe. I think by the end of this year things will honestly be back to normal, but still you have to plan for these things well in advance, especially if you're going to have a major booth at Gen Con. You've got to do a lot of planning to make that all happen. And having volunteered and having done like contractor work for Asmodee and gone and been a part of these, I know how early it takes to kind of get everybody on board, get your demo team set up. Who are you going to have, your physical presence. Don't forget, like they reach out to have like experienced players come in and demo games too, and they have to lock in contracts for these people and make sure that everybody is coming and that has travel arrangements plus all of their own people and all this stuff. So months and months in advance, and I think they knew for a while that they weren't going to be going. So we're going to rewind a little bit to the big mini stravaganza AMG had. At the end of the mini stravaganza, they gave us a pretty big spoiler of kind of what the plans were at that point. So I knew from then that they weren't going. And that's kind of when I decided I wasn't going to go to Gen Con either, because they said, I think it was during the after party, they said, all right, so this is, I guess this will be the first time we officially announce it, but the next mini stravaganza 2 will be happening in September. I believe the same weekend as Gen Con. So I was like, oh, wait, if you're going to have a huge online Zoom convention that takes up a whole weekend that's also during Gen Con, that means you're not also doing Gen Con, because Gen Con is like a very dedicated effort. You have everybody on hand, like, answering questions, doing interviews, promoting product, talking to media, talking to customers, to consumers, to, with other vendors, networking, doing all this stuff. Like Gen Con's a big deal. So it was pretty clear there was no intention for them to participate in Gen Con this year, especially with Gen Con being kind of in flux. They'd already had the dates change earlier this year. They came out and said, all right, instead of August, it's going to be September, And so, like, a lot of people are also going to have a harder time going to it in September, too, because, some people are still on their summer vacation for August, but now can't go to one in September because maybe they got kids that are back in school now and they can't do the whole family vacation thing. And so, like, it's harder to physically attend in September than it is for, like, end of July, early August, like it usually tends to be. All that being said, there will be a lot of digital events, so I will still be doing coverage. We're going to have Mini Stravaganza 2 from Atomic Mass Games. Be on the lookout for more news from Fantasy Flight Games as well. They still, could potentially have some cool new stuff lined up. They're still making board games, and I don't only cover miniatures games. I just mostly cover miniatures games. But there's still a lot of really great games that did not transition from Fantasy Flight over to Atomic Mass Games. I'm talking about Imperial Assault. I'm talking about Outer Rim. I'm talking about Star Wars Rebellion. Who knows what new news we're going to get out of Fantasy Flight Games. There could always still be a Star Wars LCG or some kind of card game that comes out from Fantasy Flight Games. Any of these things are possible, and wouldn't it be interesting if they announced stuff like that during the time of Gen Con? And if they do, I'll be covering it. I'll be bringing it to you. It's going to be a very busy time of year for me as well. I might even take some time off of work so I can dedicate myself to concentrating into doing all of this good stuff. All right, I think that's about it. But I just wanted to share this with you guys for those who didn't know already, and get your feedback. Also, there's a new round of the giveaways going on right now for a $25 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. There's a new round starting right now. Yesterday's video was the last winner, so if you go check out yesterday's video as well if you want to see if you won. Also, be sure to check out some links in the description below. We got links to our Discord. We got links to social media, to the t-shirt shop. There's all kinds of socks and masks and shirts and all kinds of cool stuff down there. So that's a great way to support the channel if you're interested in. Check that stuff, browse, maybe get yourself some Double Crit merchandise. I will talk to you guys later. A big thanks to my patrons. You guys are so awesome. You definitely help make this channel possible. I want to thank you for your continued support. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, have a great day.